Hi everyone, this is Sits in the Shadow. Hope you enjoy my YouTube station. Today I'm going to be taking apart two different guns to just sort of review the overall function and design of them. And mainly the purpose of this is to dispel a myth that I commonly see, which is that the PPSH used a barrel from an existing Mosin Nagants 9130s that were cut in half during the war to make PPSHs. I strongly believe, and every bit of evidence that I've ever seen out there, books I've read from Russia during this time period, suggest that although barrel blanks were often used, existing 9130s and other Russian bolt-action guns, the 91 series, 1891 series, were not in fact cut down from existing guns. They were needed and were used as they were. So I'm going to tear apart a PPSH. This is a Wiselight arm PPSH actually. The barrel length on this gun is longer due to the fact that it's a U.S. legal version, not a short barrel rifle. And I just want to show you how the barrel is designed and why certain parts of it could not come from an existing barrel, although they could come from a barrel blank before a gun was ever made. So we'll start with the PPSH and then we'll start with the Mosin. Mainly this will be involving measurements. So first let's go ahead and unload the PPSH. Check the chamber. It's clear. We'll take it down. Now, the primary difference in this US version versus the actual PPSH Russian, I should say this is made on a parts kit that was made off of Russian machinery, but there's certain modifications to make it semi-automatic. For instance, this unit actually has a hammer, whereas the other unit does not have a hammer. It's not designed that way. It's just a open bolt machine gun. So this version here obviously is a little different. So let's go ahead and start taking it apart. Here's our handy AK screwdriver here. Okay, so we've got the pin to start now. Pin's pushed to the other side. I'm going to be able to take it the rest of the way off. Basically, we've got to pull the pin through here. Very tight little spring pin. And then we'll push the other pin back through the other side. So now, with that pin out the other side, we've separated the two pieces into halves. Now see, there's a large flat protrusion right here in the barrel that makes the ring where the bolt runs into it. You actually see some of the marking here on the top where the bolt has ran into it. So now we're just going to push the barrel out from the other end using the same tools before. Maybe. There we go. See, we've got it started there now. Okay. The barrel's loose. We're just got to slide it the rest of the way out. Now we have the barrel. See, it's much longer in this version. This barrel here is actually right at 16 inches in length. Let me grab the measuring tape. It has to be because of current NFA rulings right now. Just see if you make a quick measurement here. This barrel's about 16th and 10th inch to the bolt face. Right about there. Okay. So this barrel here has some interesting profiles. You see it's stepped, meets down here at the small end to go into the point where it goes. And let's look at some characteristics of the barrel. So I've got a handy dandy set of calipers. Put these out here real quick. Fire it up. We're going to make a few measurements. First off is this ring. This ring measures right at 1 inch. The chamber area measures right at 7/16 approximately. And the barrel end measures to be almost exactly 1/2. So that gives us some characteristics to look at. Now I'm going to move most of the PPSH parts away. And I'm going to start tearing down the Mosin Nagants here. So, Nagant, Gun's loaded and ready like it should be. Drop the bolt out of the bottom. Get the bottom 4 rounds out. Push the 4th round out the bottom. Nothing in the chamber. Remove the trigger to remove the bolts. This gun's now filled strip. Close this. I'm going to go ahead and pull it the rest of the way apart so we can take the barrel off. So first we'll start with the rear action screw. You've got this loose, it's much easier just to turn this like this. And then bottom screw here. So now we should be able to remove, oh wait, forgot, got the cross pin we got to deal with. And actually we don't have to deal with that on this gun. Sorry, no cross pin. So let's take off the barrel bands. Take off the small one here on the end. I always find these things to be unbelievably difficult to take off, actually. They seem to require far much more work than one would think would be required to remove a barrel band. The worst part about it, honestly, is that also there's nothing really to pry against at the time either, because you don't want to mess up the stock. I find sometimes these small pin devices like this that come with an AK kit can be helpful to start it. So that rings off. Let's see if we can get the big guy off in the back. Okay. So now the upper one's off, now we gotta remove the sling. This is all kind of a pain. Okay. That's off. Now we can sort of slide the whole mess forward. Get the big ring over the last one there. Upper handguard's off. And we should be able to unbarrel the action now. Okay. So now the Mosin Nagants unbarreled action is sitting here in front of us. So the myth is that somehow the Russians took a 9130 barrel, which we have right here in front of us, and they somehow cut these in half and made a Mosin barrel. Now, remember, this barrel here is about 5.5 inches longer than the factory PPSH barrel. The factory PPSH barrel from Russia, as they were made during the war, was 10.6 inches long. So that barrel would end at about here, roughly. So, much shorter than what we've got here. Now, obviously, if you look at it, if this barrel was only 10 inches long, there's enough Mosin barrel lengthwise to make it. From the receiver ring forward, we've got about 28 inches. So, roughly the barrel ends approximately here, extends out to here, and that gives us plenty of length to deal with. Now, the problem is this profile. Now, if I start at the receiver end, the ring end right here, right? Measure the receiver ring. Remember, we had 1 inch there. Oh, let me re-zero this thing. Sorry. Okay, so zeroed. Measure the receiver ring end. I've got 1.15 inches. So now, I could cut this barrel down, theoretically on a lathe, let's just say, and I can probably make one good barrel for a PPSH, because the receiver ring end here is plenty large enough to make this ring on this piece, on the Mosin, on the PPSH. However, you'll notice that quickly this barrel goes down to 710 almost immediately. Now, if you remember on this barrel, this section right here is about 600 already, so I can still make this. Now down here, about 471. So I can make this whole step profile on the PPSH barrel easily. If I wanted to sacrifice a perfectly good Mosin barrel, I could chop it up and make a single PPSH barrel. Problem is I don't have any material anywhere else that's anywhere close to 1 inch in diameter that's necessary to make this piece of this end on the PPSH. So therefore, it doesn't make any sense that somehow the Russians, again, no matter what we say, could take existing guns like the Mosin Nagant, the 9130s, or the 91 series, and cut them up and make PPSH barrels. Now, I would say that it is conceivable that someone could take a trash Mosin barrel and maybe make a PPSH barrel. The twist rate's right, the caliber's right. But the barrels themselves are not similar enough to make two. I could never make two PPSH barrels out of one Mosin barrel. Now, blanks for these barrels, like you see here, are often the same profile as this right here, at the end here. So out of a direct forging, a raw forging, there is a possibility, and I'm not saying this is true, but there's a possibility that that forging was originally this 1 inch and some change, the entire length, and then it's turned down to make the profile you see here. Now actually, I believe the forgings are made closer to the actual sizes, so I don't see that even necessarily a forging that was meant to be a Mosin forging would be able to make 2 PPSH barrels, but that is conceivable. But the idea that someone took existing Mosin Nagants and cut the barrels in half to make PPSH barrels is ludicrous. Well, thanks for watching. Hope this was informative, and keep watching my videos. Thanks.